Hey, what's going on, you guys? It's your boy Frank the Man, barber and cosmetologist, back at it again with another tutorial. And today I'm right here with my man Carlos. We're going to be doing a mid bald fade today, real nice and tight, skin fade all around, and about an 8 on top, right, bro?
Yeah.
Dope. Yeah, and we're going to be also doing the beard in there, show you guys how sharp our razors really are, and let's go ahead and get started. All right, you guys, what's going on, man? It's been a little while, but man, I'm so excited to be back, and we're going to start this tutorial off with a number 8 guard going against the grain. Remember that whenever we are cutting hair, we always cut against the grain. Unless we are cutting black folks' hair, which is coarse hair, we always want to do either with the grain or against the grain, but in this case, we're going against the grain. I'm putting on my number 1 guard on here and dropping the lever all the way down. I am bringing it all the way up to the top of his head where his head starts to curve. The reason why is because this is called your parietal ridge. And whenever we bring that up there, it makes the fade so much quicker to fade. So this is a 1.5. I am softening it up with a number 2 guard. Again, bringing it up all the way to where his head starts to curve. I do this with high fades and I do this with mid fades. Reason why is to get rid of that bulk immediately. I'm now going to go ahead and create my first guideline, which is done with a 0. I don't like to use a trimmer simply because the best way to get rid of a line is to not even put one in the first place. So if I'm going in there with a trimmer and I'm putting in a hard line and I flip it over and I create it like if I'm lining him up, it's really hard to take it out if you haven't noticed as a beginner barber. So me going 10 years already into this industry, I don't even use a trimmer to create my first guideline. I'm not going to drop the lever all the way down with no guard on here and create my second guideline, which is half an inch apart from the first. I then grab my number 1 guard on here, and then I drop it down and create my third guideline. Now we have 0 guideline, 0.5 guideline, and a 1.5 guideline. I have my no guard on here, so I drop the lever and I go back to that first initial guideline to go ahead and soften it up. Shout out to my brother. He's the one on this camera here. This one's just stationary. But, you know, he got them angles, man. He got them angles. So, you know, shout out to my little bro. All right. I like to go ahead and just, as I'm working on this side, I like to just kind of maximize my time that I'm here. So I'm going ahead and just lining up his C cup here. And now I grab my trimmers to go ahead and start balding him out even more. And notice I fade down, I don't fade up. The reason why is because I like to keep my fades tight, and I feel like this is the best way to maximize is and make sure that you don't keep going higher and higher and higher in the fade. If you struggle with that, where if you ended up putting low guidelines, but the fade still looked like it was a high or mid fade, this is a really good way for you to maximize and make sure that your low fades stay low, your mid fades stay mid. And of course, if you're going for a high fade, it stays a high fade. Whenever I get around the neck area here, I always flip it over because that is a very sensitive area. So I try not to hit it with the trimmer all the way, the trimmer to flip the other way. I then grab my shaver and I'm going ahead and balding him out 100% as much as possible. This is going to give you that baby soft feel on the side of your head. Again, I believe that this is the best way to do it, fading down opposed to fading up. Other people will show you different ways. Other people will tell you that, hey, you know, it's slower, or I actually fade really fast like this. I cut 11 people a day in 8 hours. So that's 45 minutes each person. Yeah, you know, at $50 a cut, it's a nice, you know, like $600 a day. So I go ahead and I grab the 0. Again, we don't create guidelines with trimmers. The reason why is because it's hard. It's really, really hard. This is a really effective way of doing it. Again, people could argue, I fade really fast like this, really efficient. My clients love it. They keep coming back, So here I have the number 1 guard, drop the lever all the way down. And again, I am bringing it all the way to the parietal ridge, which is just where his head starts to curve in. Why do we want that? Because we want to shape and we want to tailor this haircut specifically to my client's head here. And shout out to Carlos. This is my boy Carlos right here. He just started coming to me, and he really liked the haircut. He said that he had a client that was pushing a barber that was pushing his lineup back, his eyebrows, I think, and things like that. And notice, look, I'm bringing the number 2 all the way to where his head starts to curve. So I am tailoring, I am customizing his shape to his head, which is something that we should be doing to every single cut that we do. Whether he has a comb over on top, an Edgar on top, or in this case, a number 8 on top. Grab that tool and bring it all the way to where his head starts to curve. I now have the gold trimmer on here. Again, no hard guidelines, guys. How do you get rid of guidelines? Don't even put them there in the first place. As soft as possible. Notice I like to dip it like that around the C cups. That way it creates a dark, it gives you the ability to create dark C cups. If you don't like them, you can fade them. I always like to show my clients. I remember when Carlos first came to me, I didn't know if he liked C cups. So I went ahead and faded one side of his head and I showed him, and he actually does like them. So I'm grabbing my Wahl clipper here, dropping the lever all the way down, creating that second guideline, which is a 0.5 guideline. And notice Carlos has good hair. He has that really good hair that it's just easy to fade. So that's a 0.5 guideline there. I put my number 1 guard on there all the way closed, and I'm softening it. And look, already it's almost 100% gone. For any of the dark spots, I always use corner work. Have my number 1 guard on there still, and then notice I use the corner of the clipper. You don't have to hit everything because it's just that one dark spot. I took off the 1 guard on there. If the 1 guard wasn't working, then you go ahead and go down to the number below it, which is in this case a 0.5. Hitting it with the 0.5 back here as well, making sure everything's even. He has a little dark spot there. Let's close the lever. Let's soften that up. Close it some more. As I get higher, I drop the lever. And that's all fading is. If you're ever trying to take out guidelines, you're working the lever, you're dropping the lever down as you're going up in the fade. And apologies because it was out of focus here, but I'm just hitting up that 0.5 with a number 1 guard. All the way closed. Notice it's still there. So I hit it with the number 1 guard. It didn't work. So now I'm going to grab the 0.5. And I'm going to soften that up with the 0.5. And notice like this hair is specific, like this cut, look at the side of his parietal ridge, the side of his face, right where it starts to curve. Like this hair is tailored specifically for his head. And this is why like I teach this, to bulk first. And initially what I'm saying is to shape first before you actually go and put in a guideline. Because this is how you truly 100% tailor and customize a haircut for your client. Because anybody can fade, anybody can. You could probably fade better than me watching this right now. But I guarantee you that if your client comes to me and I sit him down, I'm going to tailor his haircut specifically to him, and I'm going to steer your client. Because, his shape is off. And he comes to me and he's like, damn, like, yo, I've never looked like this. Yeah, well, I shape before I shade. All right, I'm going ahead and just gonna wet the top now and run the number 8 guard one more time. The reason why I do this is because I like to make sure, and I also comb it back too. Water expands hair. So as we run it one time with the 8 guard or whatever guard you're using, I always spray it, I comb it back, and then I hit it one more time. I actually do this 3, sometimes even 4 times depending on the hair texture to ensure that my client, their hair is 100%, straight, or in this case, a number 8. Because I'm sure you guys have had that situation where you go to the barber, you were probably wolfing your hair, a lot of hair, and you're like, yo, just hit me with a buzz cut. But then you get home, you wash your hair, and you look in the mirror, and you have hella like straggly hairs. This is how you prevent that. I'm hitting him with some spritz. It's just a little Filoso business card that we give in every single one of our packages. It has a nice discount code in there and some cool little words. I use spritz to go ahead and harden up the hair so it doesn't move, to ensure that I don't push back his hairline. And I always start from the middle and I work my way to the right. I always try to keep this as natural as possible, you guys. Fading underneath the hair, there'll be hair there. I believe it or not, especially when it comes to coarse hair. Like, yeah, if y'all fading, like, right under, if y'all, and I went ahead and saw that it was sticking out a little bit. Again, tailoring it to him. But yeah, when you're lining up, you guys, you can line up underneath your lineup and you'll be shocked to be like, oh, snap, like there's hair there. Or in this case, in front, check it out. In front, you see that? There was hair there. And yeah, you can push it back a little bit, but we're not trying to, We are not trying to. Carlos here has a widow speed. So I want to make his hair as straight as possible without pushing him back. Because remember, that was the reason why he came to me. He said that he was tired of his barber that was pushing his lineup. So if I start doing that, it defeats his purpose of trying to find a new barber, And right here on the side of his beard, I try to keep it as natural as possible as well. 0 guideline, 0.5 guideline. Now I'm fading in that 0 guideline with like a 0.2, a 3, going all the way to the 0.5 guideline that I created. The fade that I'm creating on his beard is the same steps that I use that I created up there on this actual fade on his hair. 0.0, 0.5, and then a 1.5 guideline. But in this case, his beard isn't that long, so I went ahead and just faded it with the trimmer. Here, I am using my corner work to hit his beard along with his mustache, keeping it as natural as possible. You guys, comb the hair down and then hit it with the trimmer. I always notice I'm always using my fingers as a point of leverage. That makes contact before the trimmer does. So here we go. 0 guideline. Drop the lever. 0.5 guideline. Pick the lever up and fade out that first 0 guideline. Work my way towards the 0.5. Put the 1 guard on there and I'm fading out that 0.5 guideline out to a 1.5. Took off the guard, softening up that 0.5 guideline again. Yo, and the quality on this channel, you guys, is going to get a whole lot better. We're just working at it. I'm trying to work on getting consistent videos to you at a very high quality look and feel and sound. And I'm really excited. Next videos are going to be 100%. All right, you guys, same thing down here. This is as if not more prone to being cut than the back of the neck. And the reason why, because this is a lot more sensitive, so I don't like to run that trimmer all the way, how it should be run. I like to always flip it. It's skin, it's skin, so you have to respect skin. And then on top of that, it's hair. You're only cutting hair. And these trimmers, especially these Babyliss, a shout out to them, unsponsored, bro. These are like the best trimmers out in the game ever, man. I stand by these, yo, and you can cop these in the link in the description. They're in the bio. But yeah, man, these bad boys are nice, bro. So yeah, I don't even zero gap mine either. Everything you're seeing is not zero gap. The reason why is because they're already sharp. Clippers, trimmers out of the box are already super sharp, and we're cutting hair and we're rubbing it against skin. So why are we trying to do more than what we need to? And this is a Filoso razor blades, the most consistent, long-lasting, and sharpest razor blades in the game. Of course, this is our brand. Please make sure that you support. You know, they come in a full, you snap them in half, you get the single edge, slap it into your Turkish razor, which by the way is almost as skinny as this blade. So when you're lining up designs or eyebrows, or you're getting right on the mustache there, it's very easy to get underneath the nose because the blade holder is so thin. Literally like almost as thin as the blade. Whenever you are razoring your client's skin, always pull the skin. The reason why is because skin is soft, sensitive. So you need to add tension to it. How do you add tension? You go ahead and you pull. And the moment that you stop pulling is the moment that you go ahead and cut your client. Again, I am lining up in front of his lineup. I want to maximize the hair. I don't want to push his beard down. I don't want to push his hairline down. When I'm lining up eyebrows, mustache, I line up in front of what I think is there. And lo and behold, there's something there. Look how icy that is. Respecting his hair growth. Telling my brother something like, fam, get this angle. And of course, you guys, I always tell your clients to pop the top lip, put your lip down. It helps create that tension. All right, you guys, and this concludes our haircut. I'm so glad to be back, man. Tell me what you guys are thinking of the new tutorial. Go ahead and drop a comment. I really appreciate it.